A groundbreaking discovery is overturning everything we thought about omega-3 and brain health. There's a missing link that explains why some studies show remarkable boosts in memory and cognition, while other times omega-3 doesn't seem to help at all. This missing piece, it shows us a path forward for how we should use omega-3 to improve our brain performance. I'm going to walk us through the details and by the end, explain how I take omega-3 to get the most benefits. Omega-3 is made up of two fats called DHA and EPA. DHA is like a building block for our brain. It helps make the walls of our brain cells soft and flexible. This is good because it lets our brain cells talk to each other easily, which helps us think, learn, and remember things. EPA, on the other hand, is like a firefighter in our brain. Sometimes these tiny fires or inflammation can happen in our brain, which isn't good. Chronic inflammation in the brain, it's been linked to cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. So based on how these fats work, there's a very good reason to be excited about the potential that omega-3 can improve brain performance and reduce our chances of getting dementia. Plus, when we observe what happens in people, the results are pretty exciting. In the Framingham Offspring study, over a 7-year period, people with the highest levels of DHA in their blood had a 49% lower risk of getting dementia compared to people with the lowest levels. So in other words, they could live an extra 4.7 years without dementia. That is huge. We also see that people with lower DHA levels have more buildup of sticky protein clumps called amyloids in their brains, whereas people with higher DHA levels tend to have healthier brain volumes. But if we just look at one study and cherry-pick data, we can easily be led astray. Instead, if we look at a meta-analysis that combined 21 observational studies together, again we see that as dietary intake of DHA increases, the risks of developing dementia decrease. All looks well so far, but here is where the conversation needs nuance. What I've shared so far are called observational studies. This means they show us links between things, but not causation. So for example, when ice cream sales go up, so too do the number of shark attacks. But does that mean that eating ice cream causes shark attacks? Well, of course not. Both ice cream sales and shark attacks, they increase during the summer because more people are at the beach and it's hot outside. So while they happen at the same time, one doesn't cause the other. So to figure out if omega-3 really does improve brain health, we need to look at what we call randomized controlled trials. This is where one group gets the omega-3 supplements and the other group gets a pretend pill that doesn't do anything. Then we have a look at how each group does. This way we can figure out if omega-3 really does have an effect on brain performance. But here is where the problems begin and where a tantalizing discovery has been made. When we look at the randomized controlled trials, the results are mixed. For example, in 2006, omega-3 supplements compared to the pretend pill, it didn't improve brain performance. Then in 2010, another trial showed no benefit either. But in 2019, a study found something different. In this study, omega-3 supplements improved brain performance by 7.1% and reduced dementia symptoms by 22.3%. So how do we make sense of these mixed results? And how should we supplement with omega-3 to get these brain health improvements? Well, here is the tantalizing discovery that's been in the works for well over a decade. Back in 2010, a big study called the VitaCog trial was done. In this study, people were split into two groups. One group got the B vitamins, and bear with me because all of this relates back to omega-3, and the other group were given the pretend pill. Over 2 years, the people taking B vitamins had 29.6% less brain shrinkage than the other group. But here's the really interesting point that relates to omega-3. In 2015, researchers looked at the VitaCog data again and found something fascinating. It turns out that the benefits of B vitamins for brain health were only seen in people with high levels of omega-3 in their blood. And get this, for people with high omega-3 levels, B vitamins didn't just reduce brain shrinkage by 29.6%, they reduced it by a whopping 40%. But for people with low omega-3 levels, B vitamins didn't help at all. But while this is very exciting, it's just one study and one dataset. We need to look at more results to understand the full picture. So remember that study from 2006 where omega-3 supplements didn't help? Well, in 2019, researchers took another look at the data. Now, a marker for healthy B vitamin levels is low homocysteine levels. And when we look at people with low homocysteine levels, as in they've got healthy B vitamin levels, omega-3 supplements improved brain performance by 7.1% and reduced dementia symptoms by 22.3%. But for people with low B vitamin levels, omega-3 didn't help at all. So now we have two different data sets showing that omega-3 supplements seem to help the brain, but only if we've got healthy levels of B vitamins. But before we rush out to buy omega-3 and B vitamin supplements, we need to take a closer look at some of the other studies to make sure that we get the doses right. So first, why do we need B vitamins to see the benefits of omega-3? Well, the researchers from the 2019 study think that B vitamins help make something called phosphatidylcholine, which is needed to carry omega-3 past the blood-brain barrier and into the brain. Once omega-3 gets into the brain, that's where it can start to help. But more work is needed before this can be said with any certainty. And it's important to acknowledge these unknowns. Medicine is not black and white. There's a lot we don't know. And to add to the confusion, we've looked at two data sets that each suggest that B vitamins are needed for omega-3 to help the brain. But again, we cannot cherry pick data, otherwise we'll be led down the wrong path. We need to embrace this uncertainty because it all relates to the supplement doses I use. There are three notable studies that conflict with the two data sets we've already gone through, and we must address them rather than sweeping them under the rug. A 2010 study didn't show any benefits for omega-3 supplements on brain performance. Why? Well, that study is very difficult to interpret because neither the omega-3 group nor the pretend pill group showed any decline in brain function over 2 years, so we couldn't tell if omega-3 helped or not. Next is the Big EARDS 2 study. This study gave omega-3 along with vitamins like C, E, and zinc, but it didn't give B vitamins. This study didn't find brain benefits from omega-3, and they didn't measure the vitamin B levels, so we can't go back and check like we did for the other two datasets. Finally, in the lipid diet study, which did use omega-3 and B vitamins, no clear benefit was found. However, the decline in brain function in both groups was much smaller than anticipated, which made it difficult to know whether omega-3 and B vitamins helped. And I'm showing you these conflicting studies to add nuance to the conversation. In medicine, we have to deal with uncertainties. Some studies show a benefit from omega-3 supplements on brain health, while others don't. So while there's a good chance that B vitamins help omega-3 work better for the brain, we can't say it with 100% certainty just yet. We need more studies, and it's better to admit the uncertainty rather than cherry-picking data to fit a story. The final piece of the puzzle that we need to talk about before I can bring it all together and discuss the doses of omega-3 and B vitamins is populations. So all of the studies I've mentioned so far were done in people that had dementia or some kind of cognitive decline. But what about for healthy people? Can omega-3 improve memory for them? And we're going to go straight to the top and look at a meta-analysis that combined 25 different randomized controlled trials together. And when we have a look at the graph here, a shift to the right indicates a benefit from omega-3, and if the studies cross the center line, there's no effect. You can see it's a bit of a mess, but when the data is combined, the bottom diamond has fully shifted to the right, indicating a benefit from omega-3 supplements. But while this is a statistically significant benefit, how big is the effect? Well, unfortunately, it is quite small, and it's possible that the small benefit is limited to people who don't eat fish. Overall, though, while we still have some unanswered questions, it's likely that having healthy B vitamin levels is needed to see the full brain effects from omega-3. But how can we make sure that we have healthy levels of B vitamins? Well, a healthy diet always comes first, with leafy green vegetables. Beans, lentils, and fish, especially salmon, are great sources of B vitamins. And to make sure that I reach the recommended daily intake of all of the B vitamins every single day, I wanted to use a low-dose supplement. I didn't want to mega dose. So I had two choices. I could take a B vitamin complex or a multivitamin and mineral supplement. So I elected to go with the multivitamin and mineral option. Why? Because of the Cosmos studies, which showed that taking a daily multivitamin and mineral supplement can improve cognition and memory. But there was a problem. All of the multivitamin and mineral supplements I found had way too high doses, and that's not what I wanted. Plus, the forms of the vitamins and minerals weren't to my liking, and that's why I created microvitamin. In formula version 5, I increased the B vitamin content from 50% of the recommended daily intake to 75%, and that was based on the data that I've shared with you in this video. And because B12 is harder to absorb, I increased the dose a bit further. I also included TMG, not only for its effects on exercise performance, but it also lowers homocysteine levels, which we talked about earlier in the video. And right now, I'm working hard on formula version 6 that should be ready in about 6 months. But just because I take the supplement does in no way mean that you should as well. Everyone is different, so it's important that you decide what works best for you. For omega-3, again, I didn't want to use high doses. Why? Because taking too much omega-3 has been linked to an increased risk of a heart problem called atrial fibrillation, and this condition increases the risk of having a stroke. So that's why I stick to 1 gram of omega-3 every day as a mixture of EPA and DHA. And I do this not only for the potential brain benefits, but also because the right dose of omega-3 can help protect the heart. In this video, we've covered only omega-3 and B vitamins, but there's lots of other things we can do to protect our brains and reduce the risk of dementia, and I go through all of it in the next video here.